Do you think email marketing is dead? You do? Oh, I'm guessing this isn't what your Klaviyo account looks like then. Hey guys, listen, if you're generating less than 15 to 20% of your revenue from email marketing, then you're doing it wrong. Seriously, there's like no way that should be happening. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to build your Klaviyo account to generate you an additional 20 to 30% of your revenue through emails alone. Now, this video is a complete demonstration where I show you exactly how to set up the custom metrics on your store so that you can track everything that goes on. Also, I'm gonna show you exactly where to click, how to set up your core flows as well. I'm also gonna show you how to optimize and dial in your emails to the nth degree through running split tests. And lastly, how to send campaigns, when to send it, what frequency you should send it at, and as an extra gift, I'm gonna give you some highly engaged segments to be sending to. If you could add an additional 15 to 20% of revenue to your store without spending a penny extra on ads, just think about the net margins on that, because you don't have to spend anything else on ads. It's beautiful. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna hop over to a screen share where I demonstrate exactly how to get the custom metrics set up so that you can set up your core flows. So to set up your custom events on Klaviyo, you wanna first go on to integrations where you'll see Shopify, and then you wanna click into Shopify settings. And then you want to make sure to tick automatically add Klaviyo on-site JavaScript. This basically allows Klaviyo to automatically add a piece of JavaScript that enables Klaviyo to track active on-site, so the amount of traffic that's going onto your site at the current moment. Next is you want to set up the browse product metric, so you want to go to set up web tracking. This is where you kind of need a bit of coding skills, but not really, so you want to look at this script right here. And then you want to just go to your Shopify store, go on to theme, which is going to be right here, go on to online store, find themes, and then you need to actually edit the code of the store. Don't worry, it's nothing complicated. You literally just copy and paste it in. So you want to go to here and search product.liquid. And you'll see here, I've already opened it in the past, so there's no need to reopen it, but for you guys doing this for the first time, you'll need to open product.liquid, and then just at the very bottom, copy and paste this snippet. Now, because I've already copied and pasted it in, as you can see here, Klaviyo web tracking added a little comment as well to tell me exactly what that is. You wanna just hit save, and once that's saved, you want to kind of test that this is actually working, you wanna copy the URL of your store and then just click next, and you're gonna see waiting for data. And once the data is received, you're gonna see a little green check mark, and then you wanna press continue, and you're all good to go. Now that all the custom events are set up, let me show you exactly how to build out your core flows for success. So the main money makers for your e-commerce brand in terms of flows are going to be the following in order of profitability: your welcome flows, your abandoned checkout flow, your post-purchase flow, and your product abandonment flow. There are actually 9 to 12 core flows that we implement for clients. However, I know most of you guys watching this are just getting into email marketing, so I'm only gonna cover the 4 that are gonna be of the biggest impact for your business. To set these up, simply go to flow ideas and import all 4 into your account. Since the welcome flow is most likely going to be your biggest money maker, I'm gonna jump into that one and break it down into excruciating detail for you. But before that, let me address the most common question I get asked about flows, and that is, how long should a flow last? And you're really not gonna like this answer, but the truth is there's no one-size-fits-all solution for this, and you're just gonna have to test to find out. So personally, the way we do this is we start off every flow with 2 to 4 core emails, and if the KPIs are met for each email, then we continue to extend the flow until we see diminishing returns. So let me jump into a screen share and show you exactly how to build out your flows. So to get the flow set up, you want to first of all be on Klaviyo dashboard and then hit flows. Once you're in flows, click create flow. And here you'll be presented with a bunch of default Klaviyo flow ideas, which is, in my opinion, they're really good already. Like, they're good enough to get you started on your email marketing journey. So the 4 flows I'm gonna show you how to import are the welcome series, the abandoned checkout flow, the abandoned browse flow, and the post-purchase flows. They are going to be the biggest money makers for your brand. So to get the welcome one, you want to just search welcome, and it would just be the welcome series standard. Once you click that, you want to import that into your flows. And then for the abandoned ones, make sure you click abandoned cart reminder standard as opposed to the abandoned cart reminder add to cart trigger. So the difference is the abandoned cart reminder standard actually is triggered by abandoned checkout. It's not a real abandoned cart flow. To make a real abandoned cart flow, I actually made a video on how you can do that. And basically that requires you to add an additional piece of JavaScript to your Shopify store. That's gonna be a different video linked down below, but these are the flows that are gonna make the biggest impact to your store. So I really highly recommend you watch this first. So once you import the abandoned cart reminder, you also wanna import the browse abandonment reminder, which is basically when someone views a specific product, they're gonna be hit with an email with that specific product, encouraging them to either add it to cart or initiate checkout. So once you import those two, you also want to search thank you and import the customer thank you new versus returning. So once you actually scale your store to a specific point in terms of monthly revenue, you can actually split the new customer thank you versus the repeat purchase thank you into two separate flows. And that's what we do for some of our clients. But this is more than enough to kind of get you started. So once you import all four flows, you want to go back to your flow section. And as I said earlier, I'm going to dive into the welcome series, as that's probably going to be the flow that's going to be the most impactful from a revenue perspective if you guys have a highly converting opt-in form. Along with your abandoned cart reminder, which is the abandoned checkout one, those two are going to be your biggest money makers. So to dive into it deeper, you want to go to here. And once you're in here, you'll see that it triggers whenever someone subscribes to the newsletter. And you want to make sure to have a filter right here of whenever people places an order at least once, you want to exit them out of this flow. This is because once they place an order, it will also trigger the post-purchase flows, and you don't want to interfere by sending them two emails, which kind of confuses the customer journey. To add any filter, you just want to go on filters, select what someone has done or has not done, and then make sure it's placed order at least once since starting this flow. Hit save, and you should be sorted. So one thing by default that is enabled, but I like to turn off, is if you go to the delays, you'll see that it says delay until a specific time of day. I always make sure that is switched off. And the reason being is because, for example, when someone visits your store at a specific time of day, it probably means that they're generally available around that time, and everyone's schedule is different. So if you delay it to a specific time, you're not really able then to tailor the sending time to that person. So I always make sure the delay until a specific time of day is not enabled for flows. So yeah, to edit the actual email content itself, you just want to click on whatever email and then click edit content. I'm not going to go into how to actually build out the emails in this video, simply because that requires kind of more creative aspects and it's not as kind of plug and play. And that's the intention of this video. I really want to make it as plug and play as possible. Now, if you really want to find the sweet spot for your flows, you need to optimize them. Which brings me on to the next topic, A/B testing. Testing is the only way to find out what works for your store. Every industry is different and every store sells unique products. Where most people go wrong with testing is they start off by testing for the most minor details that don't really impact ROI. Notably things like whether to use an emoji in an opening line or not. Rather than going too much into detail on my agency's testing framework and the KPIs we track, I'm just gonna give you a list of things in order of importance for you to go through and test yourself. This will get you kind of 80% of the way there. If your opening rates are low, split test the following in this order. Number 1, sending segments. Number 2, subject lines. Number 3, sending times. And lastly, pre-header text. The metrics you're looking for when sending campaigns is a 20% or above open open rate. And with flows, to be honest, it varies from 30% to over 50%. In some instances, we break 60% with our flows. For click-through rates, you really need to optimize it from a creative and copy standpoint. Things like making sure it's optimized for mobile view and also making sure that the copy and creative resonates with the audience. A great book for this is How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards. This is one of the first books I ever read when I started copywriting, and to be honest, it's like this thick, so you can read it in 2 days, and the knowledge in it is amazing. To be honest though, sometimes click-through rates are overridden by conversion rates, which ultimately determine ROI. Remember to always optimize for ROI. What I mean by that is, for example, with an email that gets 10% click-through rates but only 1% conversion versus an email with 8% click-through rate but 2% conversion, the difference in revenue should be 60%, i.e. always go for the one that is higher converting. So to dumb down the process of copywriting for you and just to set you on the right track, here's the process that I go through personally when I write my copy. Number one, I always ask myself, does the subject line and pre-header text create intrigue in the reader? Number two, does the copy actually sell the click? And lastly, without needing to scroll, does the reader know exactly what you're offering them and exactly what the call to action is? Just by making sure that the answer to all of these three questions are yeses, it will put you on the right path to writing great copy for your emails. Now I'm gonna go over campaigns and how to send to highly engaged segments so that your open rates are being protected and you're also protecting your deliverability. The biggest mistakes I see brands doing is doing quote-unquote email blasts, where they send an email a week to their entire list, which can range from anywhere from like 5,000 people to 500,000 people, where they send under the impression that the more I send, the more money I make. This mindset is wrong and will cost you a lot of revenue in the long run. What I mean by this is, by sending to your entire list with no segmentation, you have a high chance of landing in spam. For example, on screen is two campaigns. One is sent to a very small but engaged audience, and the other is shown to a slightly less engaged audience. As you can see in the first email, by sending to 13,000 people, which is a slightly less engaged segment, we generated $376 for this client. However, in the second instance, where we sent to a very, very small but engaged segment, consisting of only 2,100 contacts, we actually generated the client $1,200 in revenue. So here's the best part. I'm gonna give you two custom segments to set up that will definitely perform for your store. Let's jump into Klaviyo. So now I'm gonna show you how to build out two high-performing segments for your Klaviyo account or your client's Klaviyo account if you're an agency owner watching this. What you wanna do is you wanna go to lists and segments. The two I'm gonna show you are number one, the engaged segment, and number two, your previous purchases or like VIP customer segment. Depending on the size of the list and the size of these audiences, that's where you kind of get to play around with the time periods. But to create one, you wanna go to create list/segment, and then you wanna click segment. You wanna name it, I'm gonna show you guys the engaged segment first. So you just wanna do engaged, and then whatever X days. So in this case, I'm gonna show the 90 days. So I would just name it engaged 90D, and then select a condition when someone has done or has not done, click an email at least once over in the last 90 days. This is basically the engaged segment for the last 90 days, anyone who has engaged with any of your emails. So you wanna make sure to have open and click. The reason this is because sometimes the pixel kind of messes up and it doesn't catch all of the opens, which is why it's really good to have a fallback, which is the click. You want to make sure the logic for this is an or as opposed to and, because and would only add people who have clicked the email as opposed to the opens as well. So you want to make sure this is or. So to make it an or, you simply click or here instead of and here. And hit create segment. It will go ahead and find everyone in your list. Obviously this is a demo store, so there's 0 members, but for you guys there should be some emails in this list. Next is the previous purchases one. So to get that, I'm just gonna try to edit the definition for this again. So edit, update definition. and you would just do buyers. Call it buyers, and then when someone has or has not done, placed an order, placed order at least once over all time, and then you want to delete this logic, update the segment, and here you have the buyers segment. Again, depending on the size of the store, you may want to play around with the times of the segments. If a list is, let's say, over 20,000 emails, then we would consider kind of narrowing it down a little bit, just because you don't want to send too many emails to the point where you kind of get marked as spam. And you know, if your sending volume is way too high, then it gets a bit techy in terms of managing deliverability. So to get you guys started, 90 days for smaller stores, 60 days for medium-sized stores, and 30 days for large stores, depending on the size of the lists. Again, you can play around with it. So yeah. And now for a quick message from our sponsor. Hi, it's me again, Boyan from Plethora, your favorite e-commerce email engine. Now, if you just watched this video so far and are thinking, Boyan, that looks like it takes a load of time to do, and you'd be correct. It does take time if you want to do a world-class job of it, which is why we handle that for our clients. That way, you don't need to spend hours upon hours writing copy, creating the graphics, and then actually implementing that within your Klaviyo. We can help you with that. If you own a Shopify business that's doing more than 20,000 a month in revenue, then let me help you make an additional 20% from emails alone. Book in a call with me down below. We'll discuss where your brand is at and where you're trying to take it, and if I can see myself offering you value, then I'll make you an offer to join our client roster. At this point, we've worked with clients that are doing over $500,000 in revenue, down to clients that are doing $12,000 to $15,000 in revenue, that we've scaled up to doing $80,000 in revenue. So we have a pretty good pulse of what works and what doesn't for brands of varying sizes. But if your brand isn't quite at a place where it makes sense for us to come in and help you with email marketing, then join the Facebook group down below, where I give free value and just help smaller brand owners scale by giving them free advice, in the hopes that one day, you know, you're gonna scale up and you're gonna be like, yo, Boyan helped me get to this point, so I'm just gonna work with his agency for email marketing. So yeah, join below. I'm very active in that Facebook group. I'll see you soon.